Chapter 1-4, Angle Measure. A ray is part of a line. It starts with an endpoint and goes in one direction infinitely, whereas a line goes in both directions infinitely. So if we look at the diagram here, I could call this one ray MP. I start with the endpoint and pick a point in the direction that I'm going. I could also call it MO. So you start with an endpoint and you pick a point in the direction that you're going. An angle is two rays with a common endpoint. The endpoint is called the vertex, and the sides start with the endpoint and go in a direction. So I could call this side ray XY, or I could just call it the segment XY, and this could be the segment XZ. Now, since in this picture there's only one angle X, I could call it angle X, or I could use three letters to name it. So angle Y, X, Z. The center letter, when I use three letters to name an angle, has to be the vertex. Or since there's a 3 inside of here, I could call it angle 3. The interior of an angle is any point that is inside of the angle, and the exterior is any point that's on the outside of the angle. If we look at the next diagram, and I look at point B, I can't just talk about angle B because there's 4 different angles listed here that have the vertex B. So one of the angles would be GBA. Remember, B has to be in the center because it's the vertex. I also have angle 7. Angle 7 right here has, again, B is the vertex, and I could call it ABD. So those are 2 different names for angle 7. I also have angle EBD, which is actually the same as F. I could put F in there if I wanted to, angle FBD. And I have angle GBE. The sides of angle 5, so here's angle 5, and these are the sides of angle 5. So I have ray BG. I could also list it as segment BG, and I have ray BE. Another name for angle 6. Angle 6 is this angle right here, and that would be angle EBD. These terms you should have had before and know. A right angle, and how we draw or let us know on the diagram that is a right angle is we use this symbol right here. A right angle is 90 degrees. An acute angle is between 0 degrees and 90 degrees. An obtuse angle is between 90 degrees and 180 degrees. And a straight angle is 180 degrees. We're going to classify each of these angles as acute, obtuse, right, or straight. The first one is obtuse, acute. This one has a symbol, so it definitely tells us that it's a right angle. This one's a straight angle. This one is right. 88 is less than 90, so it's acute. 180 degrees is a straight angle. And 92 degrees is greater than 90, so it's obtuse. With angle addition, we can add two parts of an angle to create the whole angle. So in this picture, we can say that the measure of angle AOB, and how we note that it's a measure and not the angle itself is by the little m before the symbol angle AOB, would equal the measure of angle AOC, so this measure, plus the measure of angle COB. So the two parts create the whole. To bisect means that we cut something in half. So bisecting a segment means we cut the segment in half. We can't bisect a line because a line goes on infinitely in both directions, but we can bisect an angle. And an angle bisector divides the angle into two congruent parts. So it divides an angle into two congruent angles. When you have pictures and problems, the best thing to do is to mark the pictures, mark what's congruent, mark what measures you get, and then decide what you need to solve for. Here it tells us that measure of angle HDE is 52 degrees. The measure of angle CDH is 102 degrees. They're asking us to find the measure of CDE. To find the measure of CDE, which is the whole angle here, we would add the two parts. And I know that you can add this in your head and get 154 degrees, but on a quiz or a test, you might want to write down 52 plus 102 just in case you make a simple addition error. I know that you know what you're doing. In the next problem, we're told that we want to find the measure of angle GJK. We're given that IJG is 98 degrees. We're given that IJK, so this whole entire angle here is 164 degrees, and we're asked to find this right here, GJK. So this would be 164 minus 98, which would give us 66 degrees. And that concludes the lesson for Chapter 1-4.